It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at Element, which is an abstract strategy game for 2 to 4 players in which you are attempting to capture an opponent's piece by utilizing the different elements in the game, fire, water, earth, wind, in order to trap that character so that they cannot move at the beginning of their game. And each element, of course, has its own specific properties that you are trying to manipulate to your advantage. Let me give you a look at how this works, then we'll come on back and I'll tell you what I thought of this abstract game. So here's what the game looks like, set up for 4 players. Every player is represented by one of these mages, and you are attempting to capture another mage while obviously not being captured yourself. And you will do so by surrounding that mage so that they are unable to move at the very beginning of their game. Everybody is given one of these cards to remind you who you are trying to capture, and of course someone else is attempting to capture you. So if I'm this orange one, I'm trying to surround this figure here while avoiding being surrounded by this figure, or of course being surrounded at all. So the way it works is, on my turn, I'm going to reach into the bag here that has all of the different elements, and I'm going to draw up to 4 of these tokens. And so, for example, here we have 4 different tokens, and I'll talk about the different elements in just 1 second. I will then place these elements anywhere I want to on the board, and then I can move 1 space always, but that will be increased by 1 extra space for every one of these tokens I chose not to draw. So if I only draw 2 of these elements, I get my 1 built-in move plus 2. So I'll be able to move 3 spaces this round and hopefully get out of a sticky situation. That's basically it. Very straightforward, but of course the tricky part comes in with these elements here. So let's talk about the different elements. There are 4 of them, and so let me just pull out a few random ones here from the bag. There we go, there's plenty of them. And each one is, first of all, going to be canceled by a different element. And that's represented out here on the edges of the board, as well as on the little card you are given to show you your target, as well as the elements. And they work like this. So we have the water element, wind, earth, and fire. And as you can see, the earth will take out water, water will take out fire, fire will take out wind, and wind will take out the earth. What that means is, on the board you can always replace one with one of the ones that it can be replaced by. And so if fire is there, I can just simply remove it and I can replace it with water. But besides that, each one has a very specific way of behaving, and somehow, a way in which it behaves on the board. So let's talk about that first. First of all, let me talk about wind, which is a rather defensive power sometimes. Wind is going to allow you to move over it without it counting as one of your movement points. And so, just like I did here, if there is 1 single wind token here, and this character's here, they can move over that wind and then still get their movement of 1, let's say. And you can move orthogonally or diagonally, it doesn't matter in this game. You can even stack up the wind tokens, and so if there are 2 wind tokens there, this character would jump over the space, be carried by the wind 2 spaces away. And you have to move the whole distance. And so, yes, this can even be used as a defensive move, as a way to block, that is. And so if there are 2 wind here, if I place another one, I have trapped this character from leaving this way. They would have to jump off the board, which they can do. So that is wind. Earth is very simple. Earth is simply going to be placed on the board until someone places a second level on any of it, and then it all becomes a mountain range. And it is impassable. It will not be removed from the game. It will stay there for the entirety of the game from now on. And anything that touches the stack of 2 is part of that mountain range, meaning all of this, including this one, is now impassable. It creates an imaginary line there, so movement from here to here is no longer possible. That's earth and mountain ranges. We have fire that explodes. And so if there's one fire here and I place another one there, it creates an explosion there, travels through this fire, and we would place another fire there. You'd reach in the bag, take out another fire token and place it there. And so again, if I place one here, it explodes and it creates another one. Whoops, it creates another one there. You could even do something like this, where I place one fire there, and then one here would create two explosions, both going out and filling these spaces here. That's fire. And then finally water, which will flow into a river. And this is the way this works. If there's water here, and I place another one there, I am making the river flow two spaces in this direction. But I could even have that river take a turn. And so if I'm trying to trap this character here, and I place one water there and another one there, 1, 2, I could do that. Or if the water is here and I place one there, it could go 1, 2, 1, 2. The river will follow whatever turn I make it do. And that's basically it. So using all of these elements to your advantage, trying to be tricky with the placement of everything, is how you are going to ultimately trap your target's piece. Once you have done that, you have won the game. That should give you an idea of how the game works. It's a very straightforward system, but with a lot of tricky, clever mechanisms. So let's go back up top, and let me tell you what I think about Element. Usually when I think of an abstract game, it's a game for 2 players, normally, and it's a game with perfect information, few rules, lots of tactical depth, strategic depth. This game doesn't really follow all those rules. It's for 2 to 4, and I actually prefer the game with more players, and it's not a perfect information game. You do reach in the bag, you pull out tokens, and so you are going to sometimes best other players because you get just that perfect draw of tokens. Sometimes someone gets exactly what they need to beat you and lock you down. These things are going to happen. And so I'm tackling it in a slightly different way as I would other abstract strategy games. You know, it's not really the exact same creature here. Having said that, though, this is a very engaging game. I do find it has a nice flow to it. It's quick turns. The abilities of the 4 elements are interesting. They work well. And there's a lot of tricky moves that you can make in this game that allow the players to feel clever, which I think is a big part of abstract strategy games, even the ones like this that are not perfect information. You know, you have to have those moments where you pull something off and go, yeah, I've got you. You know, I pulled something off here that lets me feel good about discovery, right? About having found that moment of, aha, I did it. And I think this game, has those moments. And yeah, every now and then you are going to get the moment where you draw those tokens and it's exactly what you need and you go, oh, sorry, I just beat you because I got lucky. And so for that crowd of folks that won that perfect abstract strategy game, that don't want the luck, that just want, 2 brains going at each other, then this is maybe not the one for you because, again, it's better for more players and it is not perfect information. If you don't care about that stuff, if you just want a fun abstract game that retains the simplicity of abstracts with the clever aha moments of abstracts, then this game has that, and I do enjoy it. Components are, for the most part, very nice. The figures especially are very, very attractive and well made. I thought the cover was a little plain. I don't really like the cover of the game. Doesn't inspire, much from me anyway. But the board is nice. Figures are nice. Tokens are pretty nice. The bag is very nice. And so, yeah, I'm going to recommend this one. This one's going to get a seal of approval from me. Definitely look into it if you are a fan of games that have few rules but give you lots of opportunities for clever play. And again, you don't mind abstract games and you don't mind a little luck in your games. Again, seal of approval from me. That is Element.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.